Hey everybody, welcome to episode 10 of our Silvertone T2 Egyptian radio. In this episode, what we're going to do today is we're going to show you that we've reconnected the tuning capacitor, we've done all the right wiring, we're going to take some safety precautions, and then we're going to power this thing up finally and see if it works. Never been powered up. Remember, I didn't power this up when I got it, only because I didn't want to risk harming the transformers or anything like that. So that's going to be our plan for today. Let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome to episode 10 for our Silvertone T2 Egyptian radio. In this episode, we're going to power this sucker up. So I just want to show you the progress where we are. We've reconnected the tuning capacitor. I'll show you that in a moment. We've tacked in a power cord so that we can do some testing. And we've reconnected the tuning capacitor where it needs to be connected underneath the radio. Again, I've chosen not to disturb a lot of the wire connectors that are there. I just don't want to mess with that. You know, I want this thing to kind of be as original as it can be. So I've just connected some short wires there, and I'm sure that's not going to be a problem. You'll also notice that I have not replaced that wire yet. I definitely need to do that. You'll see here I have a piece of exposed solder there. That's just a temporary connection. I am going to replace that to make that safer. Also, taking a look at our dial lights, given that we're going to do a power up today, this one is missing the bulb completely. This one, the bulb appears to be burnt out, so I don't expect to see any dial lights today. But let's take a look at the top and the tuning capacitor that we've reattached. And then after we get done talking through that, we're going to do a power up. Let's go do that. Okay, here's a look at the top. Here's our tuning capacitor. It's all connected right there. You'll notice I have these controls in a plastic bag, because these controls have exposed terminals. I could show you a couple right here, like that. I don't want these things flopping around. It's really hard to work on this radio because of this control panel that they have here. So I want to make sure that those are protected. We're not touching anything. But the tuning capacitor does work. I'm turning the knob now, and you'll see that it's moving. There it is. So all that's connected. Everything's wired where it needs to be, and we're almost ready to go. So let's talk about how we're going to test it. So here is my, here's the thing that I use to do testing, and you'll see I've got a voltmeter right there, I've got an amp meter there, I've got a dim bulb, I've got a switch here which lets me choose between dim bulb or no dim bulb. Right there's the outlet where the radio gets plugged in. Then I have a switch here which is all the way to the right. My right is using the variac, which is here, or all the way this way is just straight AC line voltage. Also, when I bring it up, you'll see that the voltage on here will increment as I turn that knob, or if I'm all the way up, it just comes up straight to 120 or whatever the voltage is today. So that's how we're going to do that. So when we bring this up, we're going to bring it up slowly, and we're going to be looking for that bulb to turn really bright. If that turns really bright, we have a short, we're going to power down quickly. We're also going to be watching that amp meter right there. We want to see if that amp starts to climb really quickly or goes up pretty high, there's something wrong. This particular radio, I would expect that the amp meter is probably going to go somewhere between half an amp and 1 amp, nothing more than that. And then let's flip it around. I want to show you one last thing, and then we're going to test. So I've tacked in a power cord, and power cord's ready to go. And you notice these two wires. These wires go to the motor. They're supposed to go to these terminals. I'm not going to connect the motor yet. I want to do a very basic power up and just see if the radio works. I'm sure it will. Unless there's something wrong that I don't know about. But I anticipate that the radio is going to work just fine. And I haven't connected the phenolic plate that goes here, which lets you select the preset. So I haven't done that yet. But for the most part, I think we're ready to go. So let's give it a shot, and let's see what happens. You never know. All right, I think we're ready to bring this thing up. We've got our speaker attached, and you'll see it goes right into that cabinet. I've got the push-button controls tied off in a plastic bag because there's a lot of loose wires in there. Not loose, but there's wires in there that if they touch something, I could be bringing, voltage to places I don't want to bring. So I've protected them. They're good. All the tubes are in. I don't have the green eye tube in there. I don't have the motor connected. So the automatic motor, that gets connected right here. Not connected at the moment. Here's the wires. I just want to bring this thing up and see how it works. The dial light bulbs, that one's burnt out and that one's missing. I don't have any screw type bulbs, so I'm not going to be able to show that, at least that I can find. I may find them later. And I think we're ready to do this. So how are we going to do it? So we've got our power supply here. We've got it on dim bulb. So we have a dim bulb here. The setting is on dim bulb. It's on Variac. We've got our power armed. Let me check the switch, the power switch. Okay, power switch is on. And we're going to bring this thing up really slowly. So I'll show you just the start of it. All right, so we're going to bring it up to 40 volts. We're going to see if we get any filament lighting. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but I do see a filament there. Our bulb is looking good. Our amp draw is very minimal. Let's go up to 60. There's not a lot of amp draw. Our bulb is perfect. And I do see some glow there. Let's go up to 80. Again, the amp draw is minimal, the bulb is fine, so there's no shorts. I just heard a little noise come out of the speaker. I wonder how long it's been since this thing played. I'm going to take it off dim bulb. The way I do that is just by flipping the switch. It's off dim bulb. Ooh, I just heard something. Let's go up a little bit to 100. Tune it.
North of Rayford, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour.
Check that out.
Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows.
That's only 100 volts. Let's bring it up to 110.
Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near. Tailor around it then.
There's
Move
110.
to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building.
I do have an antenna
Avoid
connected.
windows.
Let's see if we can tune around. That's my band, by the way. I have a whole house radio playing. Wow. This thing plays really well.
Second half against Alabama. Here was the final call advancing to the SEC championship today.
Bennett Anderson gets it across half court. Chop this one up for the Gators. Anderson's mobbed by his team.
All right, so what have we proven? I'm going to turn the power off on this thing. All right, we've proven that my recap is working. We've proven that the electrolytics I put in are good. We've proven that I've done all the wiring correctly and that this thing works really well. So that's really good. So our next step in the next episode is going to be to get the motorized tuning working. And we're going to demonstrate that, what it looks like and how it works. I haven't seen it yet because, as I told you, it's not connected. So we're gonna play with that next and see how it goes. This radio is really hard to work on outside the chassis because of those push button controls. You almost have to put it back in the cabinet to work on it. So I gotta see if I can rig up something to make that a little bit easier, because I am gonna need to take this speaker out and clean it. Let me show you. There's a lot of rust on that thing. So I'm gonna need to take this thing out and de-rust it and make sure it looks right, and then put it back in. So I'm going to work on a way to get these controls safely positioned so that I can work on this thing outside the chassis. So that's it for this episode. All right, everybody. So as you saw, the radio plays really well. Sounds really good. Has really good tone. Next steps for me are going to be to get those wires replaced underneath. Also reconnect the motor. Start to test that, and then I have to find a way to mount those push button controls. It's just not safe to play with this thing outside the cabinet, so I'm going to find a way to make those a little bit safer to work on. So I'll take care of that, and then we're going to take that speaker out and de-rust it. So we still got a lot of work to do here, but we've passed the hard part. So we'll see you in the next episode. Hope everybody has a good St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my green here today. And we'll see you guys soon. Take care.